let's talk about custom states. When I first started to create apps on Bubble, I was super intimidated by custom states. I did not understand why I needed to use them or when I needed to use them. So basically, custom states will be used when you want to change the way things are displayed, and also they are a way to store data without storing it into your database. It is a way to store data on your page. It is useful because it will allow your app to load faster. If you don't store data in the database, it loads faster. And for most information, like most important information, you want it to be saved into your database, but some other information, such as like when someone clicks on show, it will show a text, and when someone clicks on hide, it will hide a text. You don't want this kind of information to be saved in your database. So that's when custom states come into action. For the first example, we want a text to appear when I click on show, and we want it to disappear when I click on hide. Let's build it together. So I'll start by deleting everything, and let's create two buttons. Show, and the other one will be hide. Let's change the color so we are not confused. Okay, and we'll add some text. Some random text. Okay. Okay, so let's create our custom states. So this is just the name of a page, custom state. So where do we need to store a custom state? This is something that is quite difficult to grab at first. I recommend you to store your custom states on your page, because you could store custom states anywhere, like in a group, in a text element, in an image, like really anywhere. But my recommendation is to store it in your page, because if you store it in another element, the risk is that you could delete it and delete your custom states at the same time. So to create custom states, there are two ways to do it, but the first one is to click on your page and to go here in the small I here and to click on add a new custom state. So this custom state will define if the text is visible, yes or no. So let's call it visible, and the type will be yes or no, and create. Here you can choose a default value, or you can not put it, but let's say that the default value is that it's not visible. Once this is done, so we define a custom state, we want to define what is going to trigger the custom state to be yes or no. And here, the triggers are going to be the click on show or the click on hide. So let's do the first one. So when you click on show, so let's click on start edit workflow. When the button show is clicked, we want to set the state of an element. So set, I'm going to move myself here. Okay, so set state of an element. And here the element is the page, because we stored the custom state on the page. If you I choose to store it in something else, you would need to choose, for example, this place where we stored it. So here it was called custom states, the name of our page, and the custom state that we have just created was called visible, so we can choose it. And here we need to define a value, and when we click on show, we want it to be visible, so the value is going to be yes. Perfect. Please note that you can also create your custom states directly from the workflow. So if you would like to do this, you just need to click to do set state, like the same thing, choose an element, and here, like, you could create a new custom state. So if you want to go faster and do everything at the same time, you can directly create your custom state from your workflow. But for now, let's delete this thing. Let's go back to design and up. So we have defined the trigger, like the show button, that it sets the states. And now let's do the same thing for the hide button. Start and edit the workflow, set state of an element, and here it is the same. So the element is the page, the custom state is visible, and now we want it to be no. Great. We are not done yet, and now we need to define some conditions. So the text is the element that is going to be impacted by this custom state. So when it clicks on shows, it will show. So we need to tell this to Bubble. So click on your element, go to conditional, and you will define a condition. So we want to say that when we need to choose the place where the custom state has been defined. So for us, it's the page custom states. And you will see that at the end of this drop-down, you can see our custom states. So when custom state visible is yes, we want this element to be visible. So you need to check this box. Perfect. And you need to add another condition. So when the custom state is no, we want this element to not be visible. So to not be visible, you just don't check the box. Perfect. And now in appearance, I just need to do one last thing. I want to say that this element will not be automatically visible on page load, because it will be defined thanks to the conditions and to the custom states. So let's see if it worked, and let's click on preview. Okay, so you can see that the text doesn't appear when the page is loading, but it appears when I click on show, and it disappears when I click on hide. So that was a very simple example with custom states, and now we are going to move to a second example, to define tabs. In this second example, I will show you how to create a tab systems for your user to navigate between different tabs on the same page. So let's delete this, and I'll show you how to build it. So you can either build it from scratch, but there is also a system already created in Bubble. Under element templates, you can choose tab element, and you can just draw it on the page. And I'm just going to analyze how it is built, because it is really the same concept as my first example. So you can see that there is like a main group, the group tab copy, and inside you have different buttons, and these buttons are going to act as triggers, like as the show and hide buttons. And this group tab, like here, tab content, so in the element tree, you can see that we have a group tab body, and we have group tab 1 content, group tab 2 content, group tab 3 content, and these groups will act the same as this text. So it's really the same concept. You will notice that for this pre-built template, that the custom state is already set inside the main group. You can see that instead of creating it on the page, it has been defined in this group. So it shows that like custom states can really be created anywhere. So here we see that we have a custom state called current tab, and the type is number. So here it's not yes, no, it will be, the value will be a number like 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you can see that everything has been already defined. I'm just going to explain you how it works. When someone clicks on tab 1, you can see that it sets the states of the group tab copy. So here you see it's not the page, but it's the group. Group tab copy, the custom state is current tab. It sets the value to 1. When someone clicks on button tab 2, it is the same, but with the value 2. When it's tab 3, same, but with the value 3. And so the triggers are defined. And now let's see how the element that is going to appear or disappear has been defined. So if you have understood the previous example, you know that now we need to go under conditional. And you can see that so now we need to you select the place where the custom state has been defined. So here it was the group tab copy. Group tab copies current tab is 1. So when it is 1, this element is visible. And when it is not 1, it is not visible. And the same has been done for group tab 2 content. You see, when it's tab 2 is 2, when the current tab is 2, it's visible. When it's not visible. And the same for tab 3. And when you preview it, you will see that it works. And obviously it works because it is a predefined bubble element. So you will see that it already exists in your own app. If you create an app, you will see that under the templates, you will already have it and it will be ready for you to use. So you see, it works perfectly. So that is obviously a very useful element for many apps and websites. You can also do more complex stuff with custom states. Here, in this third element, I'll show you how to show different elements based on the user's actions. So here, if I click on Add Elements, it will show me a box to add an element. Let's call it element 1. And it displays the element in a repeating group. If I add a second element, it shows this box and I can add a second element. And you will notice that here there is an edit button icon which appears, and if I click on the edit icon, you will see that there is a slightly different box which appears. Instead of add element, I can see save element. And it means that here I can edit the elements. So let's say that I want the figure to be in letters instead of numbers. So element 1. And if I click on save, it will not create a new element, but it will just edit the one which I clicked. Same if I click here, I can see the element 2, and I can change and save. So to do this, I have used custom states, and I'll show you how I set this up. So here, as in our example with show and hide, we will have 2 triggers that are firing custom states. So our first trigger is the add element button. When we click on the add element button, you can see that it will set the state of, so I've created a custom state called new creation. It has been created in the page custom state. So when the add element button is clicked, this custom state called new creation will be set as yes. So basically it says, look, we are creating something new. Okay, so when this thing is clicked, so we set the state of the element, and we want the block add element. So it is a simple group with an input form and a button on it. And so I click on add element here, sorry. And here I need to define the condition. So when does it show? So it's really the same for now as this example. So I want this group to be shown when custom state new creation is yes. Perfect. And now I want to tell what happens when I click on add element. So when I click on add element, I need a new element to be created. So you see, when button add element is clicked, I need to create a new element. So to find this, you just need to type create and select create a new thing and type element, okay? So I'll delete this, so create a new element. And here I just wanted to add a name because as you can see, here I only have a name. So I did it like this, like set a field name, and here my choice will be the input of a person. So here it is called input name new. So that's why here it was chosen input name new value. And next I want the relevant input to be reset because I want this input to be empty after it has been clicked. So I create a new element, I reset the input, and then the interesting things relative to custom states is that you need to put your custom state back to a value of no, because now that it is done, you don't want this box to appear. So the fact that you say it is now no, it will disappear because this box only appears when the custom state is yes. That's it for to add the element. But now the interesting thing is also to edit. Now I created a group around the icon, and this is something important. So when you are using a repeating group and that you want an icon to be a button, you need to put it inside a group. So it's very simple, like you just click on your icon and you can do a right click and do group elements in a group. I already did it, so if I click on select first parent, you can see it is already in a group, the group edit icon. And it is important because I need this group to have a type of content and a data source, because I want that when the user clicks on it, I want the information that it is the current cell element to be sent to my workflow. So I chose element because we are displaying here element, and the data source is the current cell element. And when I start edit workflow, when it is clicked, I'm setting the state of another custom state that I called edit creation, and I set it to yes. So basically it says, okay, I'm editing this element. And next, something important also that we maybe didn't see yet is the use of the action display data. Because when we want the other group, so let's hide the add element, we want the group edit element with the save button, we want it to display the element name that has already been created. You have noticed, like, when I click, I'll show you. When I click on edit, I want to see the name of the element appear here. So in order to do so, I need to set the state and then to say, I don't just say, like for my previous example, for the add elements, I was just setting the state because setting the state was telling then to the other group to show. But for this one, for the edit one, I need to I need to add this step, the display data step, so I can see the name. So I choose, so it's like, you can do it like this, like display data in a group or pop-up. You select the group and you just say current cells element. Okay, let's delete one of these. Okay, and so when this is done, we basically said, okay, it will send the current cells element inside this. You need to do something in this input. Here you need to say the initial contents will be the parent group element's name. So here, the parent group of this box, if you select first parent, as you can see, has been defined as a type of content element. And we have sent the information from here to there. So as we have seen it in the repeating group class, the data is sent correctly. Okay, so now we need to define what happens when we click on the Save Element button. And as you can see, instead of creating a new element, we want to make changes to this element. So you are not going to create a new thing, but you are going to choose make changes to a thing. And the thing here is the parent group element. So let's delete this. As you can see, so things to change, parent groups element, and I want the name to be changed. And here I choose the input names edit value. So this name, input name edits value. And then when I make changes to the element, after I want the edit creation state to be put back to no. Yes, so that's it for this little bit more complicated example. If you have questions about it, you can chat with me whenever you want.